the national title last year. Did you watch that Iowa game at all last year?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a game Penn State just dominated.
Yeah.
And Iowa scored a touchdown on a 20-yard drive after a short punt on the first drive.
Right.
Penn State took 4 straight drives down the field, but kept settling for field goals, left them in the game. Even in the second half, they were up by double digits, and then Iowa gets the score at the end, which knocked them out of it.
Ashley Collins, who does our updates, Ricky Stanzi's her cousin. That was his coming out party.
That was his big game, and that final drive that put him ahead of Penn State is the one that kept Penn State from playing in the national title game last year.
What's preventing you from ranking Ohio State higher than the Nittany Lions?
Well, my 2 concerns with Ohio State this year, one is the running back spot. You know, who's going to be that feature? Last year, Chris Beanie-Wells averaged 5.9 yards per carry. The rest of the running backs in the 4s. And look how different a team they were. When they played USC, they were a different team. When they played Ohio U, they were a different team without Chris Beanie-Wells. I need to see a running back step up and show he can handle the ball. They do have just 2 offensive linemen back this year, but of course last year's offensive line underachieved, and they lose a boatload of talent from the defense. You know, how do you replace a Malcolm Jenkins, who offensive coordinators would always game plan around? They lose your outstanding 2 linebackers. They lose a lot of talent off last year's squad. They have to play USC in week 2. If you look at Penn State's non-conference schedule, it's a cream puff. They got 4 easy games. Ohio State has to play USC, and that's never easy. You know, USC's always good, even in their first road game. And then they have to play Penn State in Happy Valley. So they play a tougher schedule this year. Talent's close, and I thought Penn State had the edge on Ohio State last year, and we saw that. They beat Ohio State.
How do you think Pryor's going to be?
I think he's going to have a really good season. He's going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the game. I've got him second-team Big Ten coming into the season. I think he improves his passing. He's a very dangerous runner.
Don't you agree that there's a lot more pressure on Ohio State in the Southern Cal game? Because it's early enough for Southern Cal that could be their only loss of the entire season.
Right.
Where for Ohio State to have any shot, they must win that game. Do you think they'll be favored in the Southern Cal game?
I can tell you right now, USC opened as a 6.5-point favorite. They're now a 4-point favorite in Vegas.
Unbelievable. I was wrong. I thought Ohio State might be 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think, you look at the talent lost, especially on the defense side of the ball. Both teams are close. It's almost equal in terms of talent lost. USC's got 10 starters back on offense. The only guy they don't have back is their quarterback. So if they can get adequate quarterback play, they will be favored in that game. And Pete Carroll's won a couple of big games.
If Ohio State loses to Southern Cal, the national talking heads will have a field day.
Absolutely.
Even if Ohio State wins the game narrowly, they'll make excuses.
Yeah, they probably would make excuses because USC, young quarterback, first road start, inexperienced defense. I could see that. And I do a lot of national radio shows. I can tell you last year, there wasn't a single person around the country that wanted to see Ohio State back in that national title game last year. A very, very big, dead set, please, anybody but Ohio State in the title game last year, no matter what state I was in last season.
Phil Steele of Phil Steele Publications, the college football preview magazine has got jam-packed with info like you cannot believe. When we return, we will look at the top 40 in the country, his picks for the national championship, the BCS title game, and the All-Americans, first, second, and third teams.